Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. We are studying the commentary on the Brahma Sutra by Bhagavata Shankaracharya. We are now studying the commentary on the fourth sutra. We are towards the end of this commentary. So in the previous section, we saw that Bhagavad Shankaracharya, he said that Brahman has its means of knowledge. The Vedas are the means of knowledge of Brahman. And that is not because Brahman is dependent on any injunction of contemplation, or Brahman is the object of the injunction of contemplation. It is not because of that, but independently Brahman is talked of, or the means of knowledge of Brahman is the Vedas, independently. Swatantrameva Brahma Shastra Pramanakam. Swatantrameva, indeed it is independently. Brahma Shastra Pramanakam. And that is also Vedanta Vakya Samanvayat. It is because of the harmony of other Vedantic sentences or Vedantic passages in this regard. That means all Vedantic passages unanimously are the means of knowledge of Brahman in its own capacity, not because it is the object of an injunction or a command to contemplate. So from there, Shankaracharya says, he continues, Evam cha sati, that being the case, Athato Brahma Jigyasa iti, tad vishayah prithak shastra arambah upapadyate. That being the case means, that being the case that the means of knowledge of Brahman independently, Swatantram, independently, is the Vedas. And so, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, the first sutra. Now then, therefore, the desire to know Brahman, that is the meaning of that sutra. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Iti, in this manner, tad vishayah, regarding that, Prithak Shastra Arambaha Upapadyate. It's only Upapadyate, logical, that there should be Prithak Shastra Arambaha. Shastra means here a philosophical school or philosophical standpoint. That is what Shastra here means. So for Brahma Jigyasa, there will not be a different Shastra in the sense there will not be a different Upanishad or a different Veda, but a different system of thought. A different system of thought is started. So Brahma Atato Brahma Jigyasa iti. In this manner, what is the first sutra? That sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, for the object of that sutra, Tad Vishayah, that means for the purpose of that sutra or understanding that sutra, Prithak Shastra Arambha Upapadyate. So here the object of this sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, now therefore desire to know Brahman. So here the object is obviously Brahman. So for Brahman, Tad Vishayah, for Brahman, there should be a different Shastra, means a philosophical school. And that only makes sense. Why does it make sense? Because we know that the Vedas, they talk about injunctions and prohibitions. Vidhi and Nisheda. They talk about these. They talk about these in a commanding manner. So why? Because they are helpful in attaining whatever one wants. So kamya karma. They are different rituals one has to perform to attain desired objects or desired things or desired states, etc. But here, the goal is not to get something which is desired, but the goal is to go beyond the mind, beyond the body, and so on. So that is why it requires a separate philosophical treatise or a separate philosophical school to back it up. Because it is totally different. It is totally different. Brahma Jigyasa, by definition, Brahman cannot be seen. Brahman cannot be any interaction of our Jnanendriya, organs of sense perception, or Karmendriya, organs of action, cannot happen with Brahman. That's the point. So Brahman cannot interact. So it's not like some other object. Other objects, there also our sense of organs can interact. So Swarga, that's on a subtler plane, of course. But even though it's on a subtler plane, there is an interaction of the mind and of the sense organs. So all the things which are talked about by the Vidhi of the Vedas, orders, commands of the Vedas, are all part of sensory activity or our Karmendriya or Jnanendriya. They can understand that. They can interact with them, that kind of object. But here it is different. Because here Brahman cannot interact with Karmendriya or Jnanendriya for the simple reason that Brahman cannot be seen like we see other objects. Brahman cannot be understood like we understand other objects. Brahman does not have any work also. It is beyond action. So that is why it is quite logical to start a separate philosophical school or a separate branch of study for understanding this Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now one may think, what is the necessity? Already we have so much to study. Then another study. Everybody now has to do MBA. So now another one study is there. What is this? Life becomes very cumbersome. So no, this is necessary. Why? Because Parama Purushartha, the final purpose of human life, is to understand oneself. Moksha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. To be free. Free from what? Free from suffering. Free from Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti. Free from suffering. And so that suffering can be freed only when one has to, when one can do these things, one can realize one's true nature. Or put another way, one can go beyond, transcend the ideas of being an agency or agent, kartrutva and bhoktrutva. Only when you give up this idea of your being an experiencer or a person who does, can one cross or transcend all the suffering. So that is why this Athato Brahma Jigyasa anyway we have to do. Otherwise, how will we get moksha? Now the question is whether you should read Brahma Sutra to get moksha. Not necessary. But one has to definitely have what is talked about here. Brahma Jigyasa. And before Brahma Jigyasa, that Atha, as we have seen, signifies the position of the group of qualities called Sadhana Chatushtaya. Shankaracharya, he himself says, Atha, the word Atha means this, that a person has already attained the four qualities, Chatushtaya, group of four, that is Viveka, Vairagya, Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana, and Mumukshutva. So all these four qualities are necessary. So once these qualities are there, then one can attain Brahman. For that, one does not need to study the Brahma Sutras or any other sutra for that matter. But this qualification is there. Qualification should be there. So here, the idea is that this inevitability of the final aim of human life, that is moksha. For that, one has to, because Brahma or Brahman, this is something which is independently proven or independently shown to us by the Vedas. So Vedas are the independent sources of knowledge of Brahman, or are the sources of knowledge of independent Brahman, not Brahman connected to any injunction. So here, that was also another one objection, that Brahman is connected to the injunction on contemplation. Shrotavya mantavya nididhyasitavya iti. So pratipatti vidhi. Pratipatti means contemplation. Vidhi means order. So, or injunction. So pratipatti vidhi paratvehi. Even if whatever is related to paratve, related to pratipatti vidhi, an order of contemplation, indeed for that, athato dharma jigyasa ityeva arabdhatvat, because it has been already started. What has been started? Mimamsa Sutras have been started by the words athato dharma jigyasa. So dharma here means actually Vedic ritual. So athato dharma jigyasa means now after this, therefore one should have the desire to know dharma. That is the idea there. That is the first sutra of Jaimini Sutras or Mimamsa Sutras. So already, if one were to say that it is a injunction for contemplating on Brahman, then that can be easily refuted or set aside, saying, see, this Brahman has already been shown to be free from any kind of injunction. It has been already proven in the previous passages. Also, it is not a subject matter of an injunction on contemplation. So it is not pratipatti vidhi paratva. But that is the objection of the opponent, that is Purva Paksha, Mimamsaka. So here it is told, pratipatti vidhi paratvehi. Indeed, because of it being related to pratipatti vidhi, injunction to do contemplation. So if the Upanishads, Shastra, Upanishads or Vedanta, they were, suppose they wanted to tell us about what is dharma, in the sense what are Vedic rituals, then why they will do it now? Because athato dharma jigyasa ityeva arabdhatvat, because it has been already started. Na prithak shastram arabhyeta. There is no need to start a new philosophical school or a new path. It is not necessary, because already it has been told in the Mimamsa Sutras, athato dharma jigyasa. Now therefore we will, the desire for knowing dharma, that's been already told, and there is Jaiminiya Sutras are already there. So the Shastra or the scripture, in this case, of course, the scripture is Upanishads, or we can say a different path. Prithak Shastram na arabhyata. There is no, the new Shastra is not started. Shastra means here we have to understand a philosophical doctrine or a philosophical path or section. Why it is not started? Because if the Upanishads were talking about injunction on contemplation, that is already dealt with in the Jaimini Sutras. Athato Brahma Jigyasa, Dharma Jigyasa. Athato Dharma Jigyasa. So it's an injunction on contemplation also falls under injunction. That is Dharma. Dharma is the propelling force which leads one to perform some action. So here very clear, ityeva arabdhatvat na prathak shastram arabhyata. Because it has been already started through Mimamsa Sutras, there is no point in separately starting another path. And if at all it were started also, now the question is, this athato Brahma Jigyasa, whether it pertains to Brahman or whether it is just one among the so many Vedic rituals. That is the question. And so that is what is being answered here. First of all, if it was considered that the Upanishads or the Shastras, Vedas, are talking about pratipatti vidhi, that means injunction on contemplation. If that were the case, then already athato dharma jigyasa has been told. So there is why no need to start another discussion. But also, even if such a discussion is started, or even if though it has been told already, you say no, athato brahma jigyasa also can be taken like that. Or if one says that, okay, what is the problem? That already once dharma jigyasa has been discussed, why can't we discuss it further? So that is what is explained now. Arabhya manam cha evam arabhyeta. If one were to say that, yes, it was started earlier itself, but now we are again starting it like that, then what will happen? Athatah parishishta dharma jigyasa iti. So then it will not be athato dharma jigyasa. It will be athato parishishta dharma jigyasa. Nowadays it's a fashion. One movie comes, then there will be another movie number 2, then another movie number 3, like that, number 4, number 5, like that. Suppose one producer and director, they come together and they make one good movie and it sells, they will make this number 2, no, sequel, like that. So here also Shankaracharya is saying like that. Suppose, okay, even after it was regarding dharma or mimamsa or pratipatti vidhi, that means an injunction on contemplation. even after that, if we were to believe that the Shastram or this separate philosophical discussion is started, Arabhyamanam cha evam arabhyata. So whatever has been started, even on the same lines, if it were to be again started, and then also Athato Brahma Jigyasa will not be applicable there. Why? Because then it will be worded Athataha Parishishta Dharma Jigyasa. That means Dharma, but it is Parishishta Dharma. It is Dharma which is balanced, remaining Dharma. So first Dharma we have told, now that remaining Dharma. Like that it would have read. The Sutra itself would have read like that. But it does not read like that. It reads Athato Brahma Jigyasa Iti. So Parishishta Dharma Jigyasa. If it were true that yes, even after Athato Dharma Jigyasa, even then something more is required. If like that the idea is, then it will not read as Athato Brahma Jigyasa. It will read as Athato Parishishta Dharma Jigyasa. Oh, it will not read as Athato Dharma Jigyasa, but it will read as Parishishta Dharma Jigyasa. That means already it has been told that now we are going to understand, or now the desire for knowing Brahman. Then again that thing cannot be started. So again, when it comes, we have to understand either it should have been Parishishta Dharma Jigyasa iti Athataha Kratvartha Purushartha Yoho Jigyasa itivat. Just like itivat, just like in Purva Mimamsa Sutras, 4th chapter, it is there. 4th section, it is there. What? Athata Kratvartha Purushartha Yoho Jigyasa. So the desire to know Kratvartha, the purpose of Vedas, and Purushartha, the purpose of a human life. Kratvartha Purushartha. Kratvartha means the purpose of doing rituals, Vedic rituals, which are also called Vedic sacrifices. And Purushartha means the purpose of man. So we know Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the 4 Purusharthas. So here, just like this sutra says, Athata Kratvartha Purushartha Yoho Jigyasa. So now therefore, desire to know the purpose of Vedic sacrifices or Vedic rituals and the purpose of a human being's life. Itivat. Similarly, there will be Athata Parishishta Dharma Jigyasa. If this Athato Brahma Jigyasa also were intent, it is also aimed at knowing what is the intent of, or what is the meaning, import of the Vedas regarding Vedic rituals. If that were the case, then already it has been started, so it will not be there. It will not be again started. Or even if it is started again, then it will be called, just like a sequel of a movie, it will be called Parishishta Dharma Jigyasa. Parishishta means additional, or like an appendix in a book. Iti Athataha Kratvartha Purushartha Yo Jigyasa. Just like it is told in this Purva Mimamsa Sutra. But the problem is, Brahma Atma Aikya Avagatihi tu Apratigyata iti Tadartho Yuktaha Shastra Arambaha Athato Brahma Jigyasa iti. So the realization of Avagatihi, realization of the Brahma Atma Aikya, of the oneness of Brahman and Atman, it is apratigyata. It has not been talked of. Where? In the Purva Mimamsa Sutra. In the Purva Mimamsa Sutra, all these 3 sutras we quoted. 2 sutras we quoted. But in these 2 sutras, nowhere it talks about the realization of Brahman and Atman. Athato Dharma Jigyasa. Where is Brahman there? There is no Brahman there. And in the entire Mimamsa Sutras also there is no Brahman. So it is Mimamsa. So this na pratigyata, it has not been apratigyata, it has not been talked of there, it is not referred to there. So tadartha yuktaha, for the purpose of that, for the purpose of what? To understand this oneness of Brahman and Atman. To understand this, then definitely we need something else. We cannot understand the identity of Brahman and Atman based on or using this sutra, Athato Dharma Jigyasa, because there Brahma Atmaikya Avagatihi, the realization of the oneness of Brahman and Atman is apratigyata. It is not expressed there. So tadartha yukta shastra arambha athato brahma jigyasa iti. So for that matter, for that purpose, it is quite logical that a different school of thought or different philosophical school has to be started. Yukta tadartho, for that purpose, yukta, it is quite logical. Shastra arambha. It's quite logical that one has to start a different philosophical section. Athato Brahma Jigyasa iti. Because this has not been discussed by any other person. It has not been discussed by the Mimamsakas. So we have to separately discuss this, and that is what is told. Now we will go to the concluding section. So after this section, we finish Chatusutri. Chatusutri, as we have already seen, the first 4 sutras of Brahma Sutras. They are traditionally considered to be a cross-representative account of all the Brahma Sutras. That means every sutra is supposed to represent one chapter or one section of the Brahma Sutras. So if somebody studies the 4 Brahma Sutras, first 4, which is called Chatusutri, then they are supposed to have understood the import or the meaning of the entire Brahma Sutra. Some people will go as far as to say that Chatusutri, if one knows and one practices that meaning, then one gets Brahma Jnana. There is a raised hand I see. I don't know whether it is raised to ask a question or it was by mistake raised. What is the raised hand? Ishwari. Do you have a question or you unknowingly raised the hand? Can you hear me? If you can hear, please respond. It will be of great help. Ishwari. Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
I think it's a mistake, Swamiji, because from the beginning it's the hand is raised. So.
Yeah, so I don't know. The name is Ishwari and the hand is like this. So we can consider it as a hand of benediction. What is there? And there is no, in Maya, when everything is Maya, it's all considered. It's only Sankalpa. See, that's the beauty of Maya. It's only Sankalpa. So Swamiji once somebody told, hey, you are hypnotizing us. They said, you are hypnotizing people. You are telling that they are all not sinners and all that. Then Swamiji said, no, I am dehypnotizing people. You have been hypnotized already. Swami Vivekananda said, I am dehypnotizing you. So similarly, when it is everything is a sankalpa, so it's a good sankalpa. Instead of taking it as a bad sankalpa, take one thorn has to be removed by another thorn. So take it as a good sankalpa. Ishwari herself is, then definitely see what would be our lives without humor. That's why in English we have this expression, humor me, like that. Humor me means give me some slack, cut me some slack or give me some leeway. Anyway, so now the next section we go. the next section it is told, this is usually called Upasamhara Bhashyam, it's conclusion basically. Now here Shankaracharya is trying to prove that of course there is one necessity, there is a very important need for studying this separately. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. It's like in the school or any educational establishment. When the syllabus is increased, students have problem. They'll say, why are you increasing our syllabus? So here also the problem is, why are you increasing one more philosophical treatise to be studied? What is the necessity? So first that is explained here. Tasmat, therefore, aham brahmasmi iti etat avasanaha eva sarve vidayah sarvani cha itrani pramanani. Therefore, aham brahmasmi. So this is a mahavakya. Aham brahmasmi iti etat avasanaha eva. So sarve vidayah sarvani cha itrani pramanani. So the idea is all sarve vidayah, all Vedic injunctions, sarvani chitrani pramanani, and all other means of knowledge. Why other means of knowledge? Other than the Vedas. Other means of knowledge means other than the Vedas. They all avasanani. They all end. They all terminate. Avasanaha. They all terminate with the realization aham brahmasmi. So the Guru gave the teaching tattvamasi, you are that, and one gets the realization aham brahmasmi. With that realization aham brahmasmi means what? I am no more this puny self, this body mind complex, but I am Brahman. So Brahman, as we have seen in the beginning, I am just reminding you, Brahma, from that Brahman comes. That means expansion, vast. That is the meaning of that root word. So Brahman means huge. So if I think myself to be puny body mind complex, then I understand that I am not that body mind complex, but I am that vast Brahman. And so once this realization sets in, once I realize this, then all the injunctions, they terminate there, they end there. All other means of knowledge also end there. Nahi aheya anupadeya advaita atma avagatau satyam nirvishayani apramatrikani cha pramanani bhavitum arhanti iti. What does it mean? It means that once you have this knowledge of I am Brahman, Atma avagatau satyam, means once you get this knowledge of Advaita Atma avagati, once you realize the Advaita non-dual Atman. So once you realize the non-dual Atman, because Atman is non-dual, once you realize that, and what kind of Atman? Which is aheya, which cannot be rejected, anupadeya, and it cannot also be accepted. So we already saw why it cannot be rejected and accepted. Mainly we have to understand what does it mean when we say that it cannot be accepted. You can accept something which you have not accepted till now, which does not have any relevance till now, that you can accept. But how will you accept something which has been there all the time? So that is why it is not accepted. Rejected, of course, is more clear. It is clearer. You cannot reject something which is the only thing which exists. Sat. So once one attains the realization of the non-dual self which cannot be accepted or rejected, nirvishayani apramatrikani cha pramanani bhavitum arhanti iti. So that nirvishayani apramatrikani pramanani bhavitu. So then what happens? Then this pramana, that means means of knowledge. Once a person attains the knowledge of non-dual self, which cannot be accepted, which cannot be rejected. That means it cannot be the object of an injunction to accept or reject. It cannot be the object of a vidhi or nisheda. So once that one understands, then pramanani na bhavitum arhanti. Pramanani means means of knowledge. Those means of knowledge, they cease to have any meaning. Once you understand that you are the non-dual Brahman, then what do you need the means of knowledge for? Means of knowledge is as long as there is this triputi bheda, we say. That is this triad of distinction. What? Prameya, that which is to be known. Pramatra, the person who is knowing. And pramana, that means the process of knowledge or means of knowledge. These things are necessary, and then you use means of knowledge. But when is that going to happen? Only when ignorance is there. When you have realized that you are the non-dual Brahman, Advaita Atman, you have realized that, then this becomes useless, because it becomes apramatra kani. It becomes without a person, knower. Means of knowledge, having no knower. Who will know? Only a person who thinks, I know. Vedmi. Aham vedmi. I know. When a person thinks, I know, then that person can know. But when a person becomes non-dual Brahman, how can that person know? There's no know. So no knowing there. So that is why these means of knowledge become, they become no means of knowledge. They lose their relevance. Also, they are nirvishayani. They are objectless. Because what will you know? When you have become non-dual, then what is there to know? There is nothing other than yourself. So there is nothing to know. So nirvishayani, apramatrikani cha pramanani bhavitum arhanti. Na bhavitum arhanti. So they cease to be means of knowledge. Apicha ahuhu. It has also been said, Gaunam iti atmano asatve putra dehadi bhadanat sad brahma atma aham iti evam bodhi karyam katham bhavet. So it's also said, what is said? When Gaunam iti atmanah asatve putra dehadi bhadanat. So when Gaunam mithya atmanah, sorry, Gauna mithya atmanah. That means this Atman, that is this body-mind complex. Atman means not our true nature, but this body-mind complex, which is Gauna, which is figurative, and mithya. Mithya means illusory, false. When that asatve, when that ceases to exist, when it ceases to exist, why? Putra dehadi badhanat. Because of the badhana. Badhana means because of the removal of putra dehadi. Removal means because one has transcended, gone beyond. What? Putra. Putra means son. Here it means possession. So connection. Putra. Dehadi. So one is external connection like son, and one is connection with the body. Deha, Adi, so on. So when connections like sun, body, sun means S-O-N, sun, one's putra, body, etc. have been transcended, then automatically this figurative, illusory idea that I am this body, all this illusory or limited idea of self, that goes away. That goes away. So at that time, what happens? When that goes away, Sad Brahma Atma Aham iti evam bodhi karyam katham bhavet. So when that happens, then Sad Brahma Atma Aham iti evam bodhi karyam katham bhavet. How can there be any kind of activity, karyam, when Sad Brahma Atma Aham iti evam bodhi, when this bodhi sat, when this kind of bodhi, bodhe, that means when this, upon attaining this kind of knowledge, what kind of knowledge? Sat Brahma Atma Aham. The knowledge that I am that Sat Brahma, real, or I am that real Brahman, or Nitya Brahman, everlasting, eternal Brahman. Aham iti evam. When one gets this knowledge, bodhi, then katham karyam bhavet. How can there be any kind of activity? There will be no activity, neither of activity of doing something or rejecting something. So there will be no vidhi, there will be no nisheda, there will be no activity. It is not possible. Katham bhavet means how that can be. It cannot be. Because the kartritva bodha itself goes away. The idea that one is an agent, one is an doer goes away. Then anveshtavya atma vijnanat prak pramatritvam atmanah anvishtaha syat pramataiva papma doshadi varjitah. So here also anveshtavya atma vijnanat prak. Anveshtavya atma vijnanat prak. So atma vijnana, that is realization of self or the knowledge of self, which is anveshtavya, which has to be attained. Anveshtavya, which has to be attained. So the knowledge of self or realization of self, which has to be experienced. Before that, prak, pramatritvam atmanah. So before attaining the knowledge of self, atmanah pramatritvam, the atman, that is this self on the level of ignorance, that is before self has realized that it is one with Brahman. That self which has wrongly identified itself with the body-mind complex, that self pramatritvam atmanah. So that self at that time, before atma vijnana, before the experience of the knowledge of Atman or realization of the knowledge of realization of Atman, before that happens, pramatritvam atmanah pramatritvam, that self is in the position of a knower. What we just saw, Triputi Beda, before a person attains Brahmajnana, that person is a knower in that Triputi triad of knowledge. So there that person is, why? Because that person is thinking pramatritvam, that I am the knower. So that person is in the state of a knower. So I am the knower. So that person is like that thinking atma vijnanat prak, before knowledge of Atman. Anvishtaha syat pramataiva papma doshadi varjitah. Anvishtaiva syat. So when that self is known, anvishtaha syat, when the self is known, then what happens? Pramataiva, that person pramata eva, that knower itself, papma doshadi varjitah, is varjitah, free from dosha, defects like papa, etc., like sins, etc. So when the self is realized, then the person who was till now thinking oneself to be the Pramatru or Pramata, that same person will become free from all the ideas of sin, etc., all the defects of sin, etc. So there are many other Papma Doshadi. So like Papa, etc. What are the other things? Bhagiroham, Stunoham, Sthuloham, Kanvoham, etc. I am blind, I am one-eyed, I am deaf, I am fat. They should not say fat, they should say healthy. So I am healthy, I am lean. All these kinds of ideas which come because of your states of mind and body and prana and buddhi and anandamaya kosha, all those ideas will go away. Those ideas will go away because these ideas are all different characteristics of these 5 koshas. Those ideas will go. I am very intelligent. I am a genius. I have got IQ so much. Nobody knows what is this IQ is going to help. Nowhere it will help. When you work for somebody else, only IQ will help you only when you think yourself to be karta. And that also, most of the times somebody else is using your IQ. So the boss gets the benefit of your IQ. What is the use of such a Q? Anyway, so all these IQ, then I am a genius or I am not a genius. I am a foolish person. I am a lazy person. I am a stupid, ignorant person. All these ideas go away. And Dehatma Pratyaya Yadvat Pramanatvena Kalpitaha. So this goes away. Dehatma Pratyaya Yadvat Pramanatvena Kalpitaha. Just like Deha Atma Pratyaya. Pratyaya means the idea, the notion, the cognition of Deha Atma, body being oneself. So how it is Pramanatvena Kalpitaha. It is assumed as valid knowledge. What is assumed as valid knowledge? That I am the body. Of course, this is assumed as valid knowledge because when we transact, when we interact with the world, we consider our body to be I. Other person also sees your body coming in, does not say, oh, this person's body has come. Then the meaning will change. Then the meaning will change. Oh, body has come. Oh, just now I talked to him, gone, that's all gone. So very dangerous. You cannot say like that. You suddenly think that I've become a Vedanti. Oh, this person's body has come means poor people, they will understand it wrongly. So Pramanatvena, valid cognition, valid knowledge. Kalpitaha, it is assumed that you are the body. It is assumed that when Sri Ramakrishna was there, he used to point to the body and say, here, ikhane. In Bengali, ikhane means here. This, like that. So he never used to say I or I did it, or so that was natural for him. People started imitating that. Everybody they're talking, they say here, this does not happen. Then some people found out, they said it is not working on you. Forget that. So some people criticized also, and other people said, keep quiet, don't do like that. That for that person it is okay because it is coming from his heart, means it is natural for him. So like that, when we deal with a person, we definitely see that person's body as the person. We don't see Atman or something. First of all, Atman cannot be seen also. So when we see somebody, we say, oh, this person, oh, I saw you, your face looks similar. Everything is based on the body. So just like Pramanatvena Yadva Dehatma Pratyaya Kalpitaha, just like the body, the notion of body being the self is assumed as valid cognition. Laukikam Tadvadeva Idam Pramanam tu Atma Nishchayat. Just like it is empirically, it is understood that body is the person. Tadvadeva, similarly, Idam Pramanam tu, this pramana. What pramana? this Laukika Pramana, this empirical cognition. This empirical cognition is considered valid. It is considered valid to Atma Nishchayat. Means till. Means till. So there is this Ajanu Bahu. Ajanu Bahu. Janu means knee. Ajanu means till the up to the knee. Bahu. I don't know whether it's what it is, too long an arm. No? Till the knees means very weird that person should look like. Though we say it is the Lakshana of God, but it looks very weird. Means till the knees, somebody's arms are there. I don't know if such people do exist. Yeah. Gods, they exist, but avatara, but people within. So means actually till that limit. So Atma Nishchayat means till the Nishchaya means strong and unshakable conviction or unshakable realization that one is Atman. One is Atman. That unshakable realization, when that happens, till that time, this empirical means of knowledge is considered valid. This knowledge is considered valid. So all these means of knowledge, they are all considered valid till you get that knowledge of Atman. Atman to be Brahman. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. So the Chatusutri has finished. So next class onwards, we will go to the 5th sutra. We will enter into the Brahma Sutra text proper. This is almost like this is almost like a introduction to Brahma Sutras, Chatusutri. As I told you, they are cross-representative of the entire Brahma Sutras. So there is this question, the unity between Atman and Brahman, isn't it a contradiction in terms as far as Advaita is concerned? Because there is only one and unity is always between the two. No, unity is not between two. Actually, that is the limitation of that word, English word unity. Here, Aikya, the word used is Aikya. Aikya is non-difference. It's not unity. There is a difference between unity and Aikya. Aikya means non-difference, identical. So it is not unity between Atman and Brahman, but it is identity of Atman and Brahman. And so there is no contradiction. Brahma, Atma, Aikya. So identity. They are one and the same. Atman and Brahman are one and the same. It's not that you are proving that they are same. Like you are not saying that right hand side is equal to left hand side. There is no right hand side, left hand side. There are only two words, and they are one and the same. Atman and Brahman. So it is Aikya. It is not unity. It is equivalence. They are same. They were never different. So it's not that you are proving that they are same. Some people wrongly understand. From Tattvamasi, you are becoming Aham Brahmasmi. Like that. So I am proving. No, Tattvamasi also says the same thing. Tattvamasi, when you get instruction also the same thing. That you are that. There is no difference. So it is identity, not unity. It is not unity. It's not that so many things are there and they are becoming one, but it is identity. Like identical twins, something like that. So it is identity. I hope Kanchanji or question has been answered?
Yes, Swamiji.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So, okay, then so we will next week we will meet with the 5th sutra. So the first chapter is more into polemics, means every school of thought is taken up and it is dissected left and right and then refuted. That is what is done in the first chapter. So that is what you will have to. So it begins with the first philosophical system, Sankhya. Shankaracharya will go on taking different concepts of Sankhya, then bashing it. So during the course of this kind of conversation, means this kind of study, we would also go and see what that philosophy actually says. Because unless you know that, you will not know why he is taking this and refuting it. So like that, Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, all those philosophies, little bit as far as it is referred to in the Brahma Sutras, we will have to see. Only then we will have a good idea about what Shankaracharya is refuting. And so we will see that as and when the context demands, the text demands, we will go to that particular philosophy and just see what are the salient features of that philosophy. Any other question? Smriti, any question?
No, Swamiji, no question.
Okay. So everybody is convinced that Atman is Brahman, you are Brahman, then what is the point? That's why no questions are there. Then what is the point in studying? Simply for Kalakshepa we are studying, huh? Brahma Sutra. Anyway, even now the hand of benediction is there, so we don't have much to worry. So actually they have switched on and went somewhere, I think. Huh? What happened? So much we are saying, nobody is responding. Happens too often during these video video conferencing, how to say, Zoom days. Somebody is there just switched on. The other day in another class, it was very interesting actually. Gita class, every Thursday, 9:30 to 10:30. There's a Gita class in Bengali. So only today somebody was referring to that incident. It was a hilarious thing actually. And I have a good habit of making it huge. See, one can ignore it also, but I will not do that. I will make it a point, make some khichdi and all that. So like this hand. Anyway, so we were discussing the Gita and suddenly it's a beautiful class because about 60 to 70 people attend, 60 to 70 locations. In each location, there will be at least 2 to 3 people. So you can imagine it's a huge number. And more than 80% of the participants are all children and they love to hear and all that. Anyway, so much of interest in Gita in Bengali. So we were just discussing, I think it was 3rd chapter or something. Suddenly somebody, they unknowingly switched on their microphone. They switched on their microphone and what do we hear? They are saying, you cut the meat, chop it finely, and then you put some onion like that. They're making biryani, it seems. So the whole discussion, hey, do like this, to nicely stir. Like they simply forgot that somehow this people are not so savvy. Sometimes they switch off, sometimes they switch on. Then for some time then I simply kept quiet. I said, okay, when we are getting entertainment free of cost, what is the problem? So it went on. Then everybody was laughing, oh, like that. Then somebody told them, and the host can mute everyone. Then they muted. So the biryani, somehow recipe we did not come to know completely. But
that's why we have to keep video open, Swamiji, so you will know who is doing what.
Yeah, so but video people don't want to open also. Sometimes it will be a problem also because suddenly somebody will come in their vest undergarments. Somebody is sitting somewhere else. This I have seen in a faculty development program. Imagine, faculty development program. It's just supposed to be a serious affair. And that person is coming on banyan he has put and some lungi, and is simply his legs are only visible on in the video. Something means it was bordering on censoring kind of situation. Like no, this has to be censored. So people have to be more responsible, Baba. What kind of and there are so many now. This half of the time is, instead of the topic of the class, it's about how you are. I'm framing people left and right. Did you get the joke? Most people don't get my jokes anyway. Framing people left and right. Okay, I'm asking them to come properly. Some people will come, their only eyes are visible. It's like in yesteryear magazines where they used to put the eyes of different actors and actresses and ask to find out whose name it is what. So only this much they will. Why at all are you showing that also? I don't know. Some people, they will show their ceiling fan. Like you see Kaitan, Usha, very nice. It's all so hilarious. Some people, something else only they will do. And some hand they will show, something they will do. Why they do, we don't know. Yeah. And some people, they will have the mobile phone all the time in their hands and it will be like disco, dance, something it will be doing. They cannot fix that in one place. See, earlier I understand, but now this is almost for more than 2 years this is happening. People should have by this time learned and understood how to manage this equipment. And some people will be, all kind of spiritual thing will be there. They will have the source of light behind them. Okay, so you cannot look at them. It's full of illumination. Just today morning somebody did like that, and I told them, seeing you, I can feel that how Sri Ramakrishna would have felt. He was bathed in a sea of light. Full white, nothing you can see. Basic physics. So all these things one has to, now you cannot say, oh, Swamiji, we don't know technology. Everybody is now doing technology. What is this? So video, to ask them to switch on the video also. So in many classes, like our benedictory hand, many classes people are not present. They are just putting it and they are doing something else, or who knows, they might have simply gone into sleep. Then they will get up, okay. Then the meeting is over, switch off. Oh. So these are the side effects of Corona. Bit of humor you get. Good. Okay. So all of you, I think you have already procured texts on Brahma Sutra. So if you have not, then procure them. There is this Brahma Sutra. For those of you who know Hindi, there is one book by Chaukhamba Sanskrit Pratishthan. It is a 3-volume book. It has got the commentary by Govindananda. It's called Ratna Prabha. It's a very good commentary. So this 3-volume book has got the meaning of Brahma Sutra, of Shankaracharya's commentary on that, and Ratna Prabha, Govindanandaji's gloss on Shankaracharya's commentary and meaning of that. It has been written by, these meanings have been written by a person called Bhole Baba. It is in 3 volumes. If at all anybody is truly interested in Brahma Sutra, you can buy that and read. So you will learn many things. Of course, we are going word by word, so there will be nothing will be left, but you can read. Please also explain a bit of Brahma Sutra from Ramakrishna Vivekananda point of view in some session. Oh, Kanchanji, I have been doing that from the beginning, if you did not realize. It's like,
no, but still, I mean, sometimes it looks very much Shankaracharya centric. It is. I'm not specifically. Maybe sometimes I like to imagine what Ramakrishna would have said about this sutra or that sutra. Maybe
I have already connected wherever the occasion came. I have already connected this thing. Apart from the fact that I was word by word explaining, or I am word by word explaining Shankaracharya, Everywhere I brought in so many examples and teachings of Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda. So if you just listen to what has been already said and just filter Sri Ramakrishna, wherever references to Sri Ramakrishna come, you will get that. Already done that. Even while I was explaining Adhyasa Bhashya, I have done that. I do that automatically. So what you are referring to is that there should be no Shankaracharya, only is what Sri Ramakrishna said that has to be told. That is what I understand. So if you can go through the commentary again, and then you see wherever Sri Ramakrishna's reference is coming, you just take that, then you automatically will get that. What you are, am I clear, Kanchan?
Yes. Yeah.
So because we were discussing Shankaracharya's commentary, so many things which Shankaracharya has told was explained. But wherever opportunity came, or more than even when there was no opportunity also, I went and touched Sri Ramakrishna and came back. So, yeah. Anyway, is there any other question? So, there was a retreat this year, Shivakumarji. When was that planned? April, this year when it got cancelled? April.
Yes, April.
So it was a retreat which was planned for second time. When I was in Mayavati, I think once I planned for Kaladi. Because for different reasons it got cancelled. This time it got cancelled because there was an increase in corona. And people could not go, etc. May and all, it was complete lockdown. So anyway, even if nature is playing against us, we will also not leave. In the same venue, May again, this coming May again, I'm telling you in advance.
Okay.
I will put it in all groups also. We will again conduct a retreat.
Fine, that will be good.
So
Yes.
only thing is the number of people will be selected. But we will inform everybody and everyone can apply because it will be on a selection basis. First thing is people should be healthy. Like they should be able to climb, do trekking, etc. If somebody has back pain and knee pain there, then there will be a head pain to other people there. So yes. Anyway, so those things and other things also, how they are, what is their, what you call, their state of mind, what kind of thinking they have got, their thought process, etc. All that will be checked, and then so we are planning same place, Parvati Valley in Himachal Pradesh. It's a good, beautiful place. So if we can go there, and though I have not myself gone there, but I hear it's a beautiful place. So
it was Tosh village, Swamiji, right? Last time it was Tosh village. Near Tosh village.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Also, most of us have been habituated with some kind of basic comfort. So what we think basic is not really basic. So when you go to such places, you're like, oh. So all that is necessary also. Some kind of physical austerity is also necessary. And let us see what will come out of it. I don't know. But this idea is there. May month retreat is planned. So let's see. And maybe some other retreats also, but that will be different. That will not be in Himachal Pradesh or something. That will be more what you call, a place where a person can go, more accessibility will be there, or also people will be comfortable there. Mostly it will be some of our ashramas in Uttarakhand, like Mayavati or some other ashram. So there will be retreats. Once this corona is over, I was planning to have 4 or 5 retreats a year. So it will be there. And maybe some retreats will be language centric, some in Hindi, some in Malayalam, some in English, some in Tamil also maybe. So we don't know. It has to, basically Tamil, Malayalam, Hindi, Bengali, all these languages. Bengali, of course, there will be a lot of demand. There is a lot of demand. Malayalam, I'm not so sure about that. But Hindi also, there is a good demand. English, of course, there is demand. So anyway, so that time it was a very selected people only we informed. But even then, people came, actually many people came forward, but at the last moment it went totally, yeah. We thought that 2021 would be better than 2020. 2021 excelled 2020 in that negative manner. Anyway, so now let us see. So after 2 days, after next year only, this is a very old joke, no? And like, oh, we will meet only the next year. The Kalpaturu Day we celebrate in all our Ramakrishna Mutt centers. Sri Ramakrishna, how, see this great design. 1st of January he selected to give his benediction. So and now every center celebrates Happy New Year. So when the world celebrates Happy New Year, we celebrate Kalpaturu Day. So it's wonderful. Sri Ramakrishna's plays are all like that. Okay, so any question? Smriti, there is no question?
No, Swamiji, no question.
Shall I ask you a question? If there is a retreat, will you be coming to that retreat?
Yes, Swamiji, I will come. If I am selected, I'll come.
No, you will be selected, but will you be willing to come? Because then
Yes.
you have to climb and go down, etc.
Yes, Swamiji, I'll be more than willing to come.
Physically, it will be possible.
Yes, Swamiji, more than willing to come.
Okay. So let us see what happens. That place is very nice because it is near. From there, we can go to Spiti Valley also. Spiti Valley is a wonderful place. So, yeah. Let us see. Okay, Shubharatri.